Hey Brittany, I'm just looking at your poster here. I like the color scheme and I like the hand. I think it's fine that it's getting cropped off here on the sides. It's really filling in the frame, making it a little bit more impactful. I would say with the logos, the black is not really showing up super well on this kind of auburn color. I would say maybe like white actually might work better instead of the black for having that pop off. Did a good job getting these traced. This KNMC logo, looks like you might have opened it up. One thing about it that might be good to do is just, yeah, change all this to white. So the black to white and the white to black, possibly. Or just delete the white shapes. Actually, that's not working now. Let's see. Oh. Nope, that doesn't work. Be nice if that was see-through. Well, might have to go into Illustrator to fix that. Maybe it'd just be nice if this everything was white, that was black was white, and then some of the stuff was actually deleted out of it, which could take a while, and maybe that's something I should do and provide to you guys. But even making that KNMC white does help it to stand out a little bit better. This color is fine, but sometimes when I see certain logos white, it makes me want to see the rest of them white. But actually I think it's okay this color because the Red Ants Pants kind of matches it, so it's actually working out okay. I would size these down though and get them away from the edge of the poster, because the poster is going to print with a white border around it, and so that white border is going to be even closer, and it's probably going to even maybe run into the bottom of this. I mean, I would, how big is this? So this is almost 2 inches wide and an inch tall. So I mean, you could go a lot smaller with these, with all of these. They could be an inch wide, or close to an inch wide. So the width and the height are up here if you're in Essentials Classic workspace. Oops. So yeah, just make sure you push Shift when you resize. And getting them roughly like you have already, getting them all roughly the same size, obviously is a good idea. In the properties panel, we can use the alignment, and then maybe it didn't really work very well. KNMC still doesn't look aligned, probably because the box is a little off there for whatever reason. Get those kind of evened out nicely so that they have even spaces between them for the most part, and get everything away from the edge as much as possible. Because like, yeah, when this prints, it's probably going to print with like that big of a white border around it, somewhere around 1/8 of an inch of a white border. Sometimes I even add in boxes that go all the way around my designs and lock them down that are 1/8 inch wide, and you can see how wide they are by like going up here. And I'll put them in so it actually has a white border on it, so I know what it's going to look like, that white border. But yeah, and size everything down to be roughly the same. One thing about this VIX logo I would suggest doing is ungrouping it. So you can do that over here in the quick actions and the properties, but you could go through and just delete lounge and casino, because it didn't really, parts of the letters are missing, like this A is missing, the circle, and it's just, it doesn't really need it. Like we could just, you know, have it look like that, and it looks a little bit better. It's not a lot better, but it looks a little bit better. You might have to like drag over it and then shift and click on the things that you don't want selected, and then push G, Command G, or group in the quick actions in the properties panel to group it together after you've selected all of it, to get it back together again. But yeah, I think something like that is going to work pretty well. The Red Ants Pants, you know, maybe you want to use proximity a little bit with this. So you're mentioning the Red Ants Pants Music Festival up here. So let's put the logo up there. That is helpful to do that. Free is a great word. You might want to highlight it like by, you know, just a little. Maybe free and kid-friendly could be just like that. I don't know. Or on one line, maybe. One thing I would suggest Two is this tribute box is really large. I think this is your text effect. I would just make the box around it smaller so you can grab the things a little easier that are around it. And maybe make it a little bit smaller on the canvas. Not a lot, but like it's just going to be, it's a little close to the edge in places. So we do want to give it a little bit of breathing room. One thing that's sort of bumming me out a little bit is that I know this is probably like a local picture and I really want to see the outline of the mountains if possible. I wonder, and I do notice, okay, I do notice, let's see, what kind of is, so this is an unsplash JPEG. I wonder, did you add in some of these stripes in here? Oh, okay, I see. So you added in a gray stripe, which is fine. I was thinking that you had added in, I was just wondering, let's see what, okay, I can see why you did that. Maybe make it look more intentional, because I thought that, it's hard to explain what I thought, honestly, because it's kind of abstract, but I think what would help with this is to make this stripe maybe look a little bit more intentional. And I wonder if we moved it down a little bit and maybe try to put some of this stuff on one line. So Streetery and Vix, so we could put Streetery and Vix logo next to this. So, and I would say this is not as important as this, so I'd make this larger than this. Let me just pause the video and try and do a little bit of work on this and just see kind of the hierarchy of information, what would make sense, the most sense. Okay, let me pause. So this is just, you know, suggestions for the layout, not necessarily something you have to do, but I do think uncovering the mountains is important. Let's look at your links panel. This is in CMYK. The effective PPI is 319, which is good. That means it's not going to be blurry. I do think the colors of the tribute match the photo as well, and the sky and everything, so I think that's nice. I did make this bolder. I might have made it a little bit smaller. I left aligned it. I put these two logos up here because it was like almost too much having all the logos down at the bottom here. Size down tribute just a little bit. Change the colors on this just to add more color in, because the black it didn't look intentional enough in some ways. It looked like I didn't quite understand that it was a stripe over the top of the photo at first, which I think makes sense because you're wanting to put your text on there. I did left align this text. I made it bigger because it is really the second most important, besides the title, thing on the whole design probably. Then I made this all uppercase, put it on 2 lines. I did simplify the text as well because it was not fitting. Because this hand does take up so much room, it was necessary to cut a lot of the text out. I made the Red Ants pants a lot smaller. It's only 1 inch wide now and a 1/2 inch tall. And I did simplify this text. Don't miss your chance to win 2 tickets to the Red Ants Pants Music Festival. And then I did add another, I just copy pasted this and then put that gold color in there. I don't know if it needs that. It was just one more way of adding in a little bit more color, but this is actually quite vibrant in the background. But as you can see, since I moved it up, I'm missing pieces of grass, which is not necessarily good. So if we do a Command-C, Command-V, let's just try this little trick that I do sometimes. Flip it vertical. If we're in Essentials Classic, you should see that up there. And I should be able to bring this down, and hopefully we can just kind of join this together. It does create a little bit of a seam sometimes, but it's usually not noticeable enough to like be that bad. It is something we could fix in Photoshop as well, but it's a quick way of doing it, and it usually looks okay. I mean, yeah, you can kind of tell there's a seam there, but honestly, if somebody didn't point it out to you, you probably would not notice it. I'm not sure about, I'm not quite sure what text this is. Apparat. Okay, I'm missing it. I probably just need to launch my Creative Cloud. I think this is the same one. Okay. So yeah, I just make sure that you have good fonts in here. I would say this is probably too big. I didn't really do much with this. It should probably be quite a bit smaller. Possibly just all dark colored, like, and then no stroke, since I did put it in the gray here. And we could make this the same color, like, so if you're using brown, oops, I don't want it to be, I want it to be the fill color on the logos, not the stroke color. So yeah, we could probably just make this, and we don't have to have an angle on it, we could just make it straight. It doesn't have to be very big, like I said. I mean, this, maybe we could make it like 18, which is still 18 points is actually still fairly large. And then we could just put these over here so that they're not too distracting, maybe. Or if they fit over here, you know, you could do it over there. And if you don't want to put it over the actual hand, which you might not want to, you might want to actually try and make some space over here for them. You could stack them on top of each other and make this box a little bit, you know, and make it all white, and making sure that it fits in there good. But, you know, I'll leave that up to you to decide. But, and you don't have to go with this color scheme, but I did think this blue looked pretty nice with all the warm colors that you have going here. Having a cool color in there is going to be helpful. So something maybe a little bit more like that might work out better for you. It's hard to find the room for things because this is taking up as much room as it is, but there are ways to get around it. Mostly it's just making the text smaller and things like that. But this is still pretty big. I mean, even this text here is 26, this is 21, and this is 14, which is kind of small, but it is the kind of information that is not as important as everything else on here. So yeah, I'm not sure about this. It might look better over here, but something maybe a little closer to this. I'm not trying to tell you exactly how to lay out your poster, but I think you had some really good elements that just needed to be highlighted, because I mean, you found this local picture, and it is a really good picture of the mountains, and I think a lot of people in town will recognize that. So great job, and we'll talk to you soon.